The tank was on fire, flames were shooting 20 feet into the air, and black smoke poured from the engine. Any sane soldier would have run, but Audie Murphy didn't run. Instead, the 19-year-old climbed on top of the burning M10 tank destroyer, exposed, alone, with 50 German soldiers advancing through the snow. What happened next would earn him America's highest military honor, and it would prove that the smallest soldier in the U.S. Army was also the deadliest. This is the story of January 26, 1945, the day one teenager held off an entire German company, and became a legend. Audie Leon Murphy was born into poverty on June 20, 1925, in Kingston, Texas. His family was so poor they lived in a dirt-floor sharecropper's shack. 12 siblings, not enough food, and a father who abandoned them. By age 12, Audie was the primary breadwinner, hunting rabbits to feed his brothers and sisters. By 16, his mother was dead, the family was scattered, and Audie was alone. When Pearl Harbor was bombed in 1941, Murphy tried to enlist. The Marines rejected him, too short, too skinny, and baby-faced. He was 5'5" and weighed 112 pounds. The Army almost turned him away too, but in June 1942, after his 18th birthday, they finally let him in. His sister had falsified his age on the paperwork. The recruiter took one look at this Texas kid and figured he'd wash out in basic training. They were wrong. Murphy arrived in North Africa in 1943, then Sicily, then Italy. He fought through France. Every battle, he volunteered for the most dangerous assignments. Every firefight, he moved toward the enemy when others dove for cover. His platoon started calling him "baby," then they saw him kill 2 Italian officers with a single burst, they stopped joking. By January 1945, Audie Murphy had killed so many enemy soldiers that his commanders had lost count. He'd earned 2 Silver Stars, 3 Purple Hearts, and a battlefield commission to second lieutenant. But he still looked like a teenager. And on January 26, 1945, near the French town of Holtzwihr, that teenager would do the impossible. January 26 dawned cold and miserable. The Colmar Pocket, a stubborn bulge of German-held territory in eastern France, had to be eliminated. Murphy's company, Company B, 15th Infantry Regiment, 3rd Infantry Division, was ordered to push through the Holtzwihr forest and take the town. The snow was ankle-deep, visibility was terrible, and the forest was silent except for the crunch of boots and the occasional crack of a sniper's rifle. Murphy led from the front, he always did. His men were exhausted after weeks of continuous combat with no rest, but they followed him because he never asked them to do anything he wouldn't do first. At 1400 hours, they reached the edge of the forest. Ahead lay open ground, farm fields covered in snow, leading to the village of Holtzwihr. Murphy ordered 2 M10 tank destroyers forward to support the infantry advance. That's when the Germans opened fire. Machine guns, mortars, and small arms fire from concealed positions. Murphy's company hit the ground. The 2 M10s rolled forward, trying to suppress the enemy positions. Then, one of the tank destroyers took a direct hit. The explosion was deafening. The crew bailed out, scrambling through the snow as flames engulfed the vehicle. German infantry, an entire company, later estimated at 250 men, began advancing from the woodline on the opposite side of the field. Murphy made a split-second calculation, his men were pinned down, the Germans were closing in, and they had minutes, maybe seconds, before being overrun. He grabbed the field phone connected to the remaining tank destroyer and called for artillery support. Then, he did something insane. He ran toward the burning tank. The M10 tank destroyer was fully engulfed, flames licked the turret, and ammunition inside was cooking off, random explosions popping like fireworks. The heat was so intense Murphy could feel it from 20 yards away. He climbed onto the back deck anyway. The M10 had a .50 caliber heavy machine gun mounted on the turret ring, it was still intact. Murphy grabbed the handles, swung the barrel toward the advancing Germans, and opened fire. The Browning M2 roared. .50 caliber rounds tore through the snow at 550 rounds per minute. German soldiers dropped, the advance staggered, but they kept coming, spreading out, trying to flank the burning tank. Murphy swept the machine gun left and right, walking fire across the treeline. He could see their uniforms now, Wehrmacht infantry in winter camouflage, close, too close. The field phone was still clutched in his left hand. He was calling artillery coordinates while firing with his right. He shouted, 200 yards, my position, drop it on my position. The artillery officer on the other end hesitated, Lieutenant, that's danger close, you need to pull back. Murphy replied, if you don't fire, we're dead anyway, fire now, Seconds later, American artillery shells began screaming overhead. They exploded in the German lines, geysers of dirt, snow, and shrapnel. Men disappeared, and the advance faltered. But they regrouped. German officers were screaming orders, rallying their troops. They had numerical superiority and cover. This lone American on a burning tank couldn't hold them forever. Murphy kept firing. His men, still pinned in the forest behind him, watched in disbelief. Their 19-year-old lieutenant was standing fully exposed on a flaming tank destroyer, cutting down Germans like wheat. One of his sergeants yelled, Murphy, get down, you're gonna get killed. Murphy didn't respond, he was too busy reloading. Time became meaningless. Murphy later said he had no idea how long he stood there. His men estimated 1 hour, 60 brutal minutes of continuous combat. The machine gun barrel glowed red-hot, and Murphy's hands were burned from the heat, but adrenaline kept him moving. Reload, aim, fire, call artillery, reload again. The Germans tried everything. They sent squads flanking left, Murphy swung the gun and cut them down. They tried flanking right, artillery shells disintegrated them. They charged straight ahead, the .50 cal turned them into red mist in the snow. Bodies piled up in the field. Murphy was running on instinct now, shooter's instinct, the same instinct that had kept his family alive hunting rabbits as a kid. Aim, breathe, squeeze, next target. A German bullet hit the turret 6 inches from his head, and shrapnel grazed his leg. He didn't flinch. Another burst of machine gun fire stitched across the tank's hull. Murphy ducked, adjusted position, and kept firing. The ammunition inside the burning tank was exploding more frequently now, and the entire vehicle was a mobile bomb. His men were screaming at him to abandon it. Murphy stayed. Then, at approximately 1500 hours, the German advance finally broke. The survivors, what was left of the 250-man company, retreated into the forest. The field was littered with dead. Murphy climbed down from the tank. His uniform was scorched, his face was black with soot and gunpowder, and his hands were blistered. He walked calmly back to his men, picked up his rifle, and said, "All right, let's move out." 20 minutes later, the M10 tank destroyer exploded in a massive fireball. If Murphy had stayed another 15 minutes, he would have been vaporized. The battlefield assessment came quickly. Dead German soldiers, approximately 50, confirmed killed by Murphy alone. Dozens more wounded by artillery he directed. An entire Wehrmacht company destroyed. American casualties, Murphy had been alone on that tank, 0 friendly losses during his stand. Company B secured Holtzwihr by nightfall. Murphy's company commander wrote the after-action report that night. He stated flatly, "Lieutenant Murphy's actions were the most courageous I have witnessed in 3 years of combat. Without his intervention, Company B would have been annihilated." The recommendation for the Medal of Honor was immediate. But Murphy didn't think about medals, he thought about his men. 3 days later, he was back on the front lines. 2 weeks later, he took shrapnel to both legs, but he refused evacuation until the battle was over. By May 1945, when Germany surrendered, Audie Murphy was the most decorated American soldier of World War II. He'd earned the Medal of Honor, the Distinguished Service Cross, 2 Silver Stars, the Legion of Merit, 2 Bronze Stars, and 3 Purple Hearts, along with decorations from France and Belgium. 33 awards total, all before his 21st birthday. He'd been wounded 3 times, hospitalized 4 times, and he'd killed at least 240 enemy soldiers, confirmed. The baby-faced kid from Texas who was too small to serve had become a legend. Audie Murphy came home to a hero's welcome in 1945. Parades, speeches, and magazine covers. Life magazine put him on the cover with the headline, Most Decorated Soldier. Hollywood noticed. Actor James Cagney saw his photo and invited him to California. Murphy had no acting training, but his natural charisma, and his real-life heroism, landed him movie roles. By 1955, he starred in To Hell and Back, playing himself in the movie adaptation of his autobiography. It became Universal Pictures' highest-grossing film for 20 years. But the fame couldn't erase the nightmares. Murphy suffered from what we now call PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. He slept with a loaded pistol under his pillow, he had violent flashbacks, and he became addicted to sleeping pills. He spoke openly about it, which was revolutionary for the 1950s. He told reporters, "I still see the faces, every man I killed, I see them when I close my eyes." He advocated for better mental health care for veterans, he testified before Congress, and he broke the stigma. On May 28, 1971, Audie Murphy died in a plane crash in Virginia. He was 45 years old. He was buried at Arlington National Cemetery with full military honors. His grave is the second most visited site in Arlington, after President Kennedy's. January 26, 1945. 1 burning tank, 1 teenager with a machine gun, 50 dead enemies, and 1 hour that changed everything. Audie Murphy proved that courage isn't about size, and it's not about training. It's about standing your ground when every instinct screams at you to run. The Germans surrounded him, and the tank was on fire, he should have died. Instead, he became immortal.